Good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your metal market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for Monday, the 9th of June, 2025, and we're sitting here just after 6:10 p.m. Central Time. Now, tomorrow we're going to get some more interesting news. You're going to get the National Federation of Independent Businesses. That comes out at 5 in the morning. I'll be up, but a lot of you won't be. Redbook Group will update their U.S. weekly retail sales at 7:55. You know, they've been running 4.5% to 6%. 1 week up, 1 week it gets slower. It's just back and forth right there. I don't know that this is going to happen. Trade Representative Jameson Greer is supposed to address the Economic Club of New York tomorrow at 11 in the morning. Here's why I say that. There is a chance he'll do that. That would be in the afternoon, probably from where they're at in London. What would that be? In the neighborhood of... I'm guessing 4 or 5 in the afternoon. He might be through with his Chinese negotiation. It begins at 10 in the morning, London time. Depends how long it lasts. Today it lasted 6 to 7 hours. So a lot depends because they take a break for lunch, then they come back and they finish up. I don't know about that, all right? I'd like to see him miss it because it means that the meeting is going longer. And the longer it goes, from my perspective, more things are getting done. Meetings that don't go well end quick. Meetings that go longer than you think go longer. Kevin Hessett this morning, the president's economic advisor, said he thought the meeting would go a couple of hours. There'd be a very firm handshake and the deal would be done on rare earths and what chips are going out. Now, that expanded today to 6-7 hours, if you think about it. Now they're on for tomorrow. So I think more is getting done than less, and everybody's very tight-lipped about what is going on. You're not hearing anything from anybody so far. Maybe the president can keep his mouth quiet. We'll find out. API, they're going to release their weekly member stockpiles at 3:30 in the afternoon. So, you know, that's where you're at on all that. We saw the Apple deal come out today, the developers conference. It's not helping the markets. They're up tonight again, but they've been up. This market keeps climbing a wall of worry. It doesn't seem to care. It's the thinking is that the worst of the tariffs are behind the market and that the president will have to make some hard decisions in the next couple of weeks. He's never going to get enough deals done by July 4th to 9th to make this whole thing anything but. He decides what are the tariffs and maybe a more realistic time frame. He'll probably make it shorter again. It's always easier to make it shorter and then give more time than it is to give a lot of time and nothing gets done. I think he gets that game, and that's why they'll probably be shorter. Bonds and notes getting a little bit of a rally tonight. Energy markets on a whole, excuse me, probably getting a bid because they're seeing a positive sign, just like we are, like at least I am, from the length of the meeting between the U.S. and China. You're down in the natural gas because the weather changed again. Over the weekend, that hot spell, we were spaghetti, the hotter spell might be the right wording because nothing's really hot, disappeared. And once again, we're into the time frame here in early June. And, you know, we're going to be mid-June shortly. Nobody's using their air conditioners. If you are, it's minor amount. It's not a big draw on them. And that doesn't take natural gas out. The dollar a bit weaker today, but as you can see tonight, the market's sort of floundering again. Silver gaining big time against the gold market. It has a ways to go, in my opinion. And I know that might mean it peaks here and pulls back. I don't think so. I think that silver is on a run, and I think that you have to look at it that way. I put out a special report already for silver. I did it over the weekend. It's on our website at iraepstein.com. You just go up to the top there. It's there now. It has 2 more days to run, and it's off the website. So if you haven't seen it, you want to look at it. It covers silver futures, SIL, and SLV ETFs. It then looks at weekly and daily charts. It then looks at the cycles as to how they've gone, seasonality, and then we put the price counts to work on the charts. So you get to see an idea of where they might go, and it's quite amazing. Now, a lot's going to depend on what happens with the U.S. dollar for that, but I'm getting more and more bearish on the dollar. It just can't seem to rally. Now, it's also not breaking, so it's found the 9,900 home to be an area to look at. So let's take a look and get a feel for where the charts are at. When you look at gold on a weekly basis, and this is just a chart of closes, you can see the market really hasn't given up very much when you look at it visually. When you look at a bar chart on a daily bar chart, the market hasn't been able to get over these highs. It's rallied back, and it just seems to be in here. Could be a big consolidation that is going on. I can't argue that. You're not trending. On a short-term basis, you have a higher high and a lower low. That is not a trend. Where's the market keep falling back to and finding its footing? If you don't see this, then we're not seeing the same things on a chart, but it is the 18-day average of closes. All the key averages are from this point down, and the resistance is up at the upper Bollinger Band, where the market is having over and over some troubles staying over it. Ever since this run, we had that vertical run, if you remember, that week of April 7th, and everything ran, and that was when the market had the peak in it, in fact. And since then, we've had lower highs. But have we really been able to break this market much? No. When we take a look at the gold in the momentum, I can see why it's backing off. It got overbought, and it's correcting the overbought condition. Both numbers are no longer over 70. It's out of overbought. So I think the market's going to fight its battle right now, looking for direction here. In the gold-silver ratio, you do remember we were at 104. You're now down to 90. Where might this market go? Well, there's no reason it can't come in right through here to fight its first series of major battles. It's not dramatically lower from here, but it's certainly another 3 to 5 number. And that number means that's many less ounces of silver to get an ounce of gold. So that's impressive for that. You're too many days in a row now up over silver. Including tonight, you'd be 4. My odds put the market of pulling back to the right-hand side of this Bollinger Band, but because it's embedded, I think that any first break in the market, you're going to see people both caught in the market and those scared that they got the fear of missing out, the FOMO trade of buying the market on the break. That's what I'm expecting to see. In the copper market, momentum got away from being overbought, which is what you want to see. The trend is up, the bias is up, and the market's sort of waiting now to see what's going to come out of China-U.S. pattern. Is that going to be good for trade? If it's good for trade, 2 markets take off typically, the copper market and the energy, because that's what China needs to make more product. When you look at the platinum market, it's still on a tear to the upside. So we had that correction we talked about. It re-embedded. It too, like in the silver, getting a little bit ahead of itself. I wait for it to pull back to the right. But these industrial type metals are on a move to the upside, and I think that's important. All we hear is how the economies are going to pull back, the tariff wars are going to break everything. It's not what we're seeing in the metal markets, and that's the way that I approach it. In the U.S. dollar, if you start getting through these lows here, that 97.60 area, I tell you, that would scare the heck out of me. I would think the market's then going to break down. All the sideways action could be a base or a top. The market hasn't told us yet. This represented a 4th count, as we call it in our price counts. If the market drops again, you go to 88 as a potential, doesn't have to get there, a potential 5th and very rare count. Whoa. And if that happens, if you take the dollar down that low, metal markets, in my opinion, take off. Crude takes off. Commodities as a group take off. And that's because anything priced in dollars for export becomes suddenly worth more money. And as the president wants, the lower dollar spurs on our export business. That's part of this game. So what comes with that? Don't know. How bad does the U.S. economy get? Not exactly certain with that. But it would certainly stress the markets one way or the other. But it would make other markets that you want to put value into that are priced in dollars, they're cheaper from abroad. and that creates demand. So those are the things you have to look at on this. And I'm going to repeat, go to iraepstein.com. On the top of the chart is my silver report. You have 2 more days to view it. I'm Ira. You have yourself a great evening. I'll catch up with you in the other videos tonight or in the morning video. You take care.